You might be saying to yourself, wow, Nick, what happened to your visual quality? It got a lot better. Well, you see, friends, there's a little thing on the ring right here that increases the focus of my webcam. Apparently, I never looked at the manual hard enough to notice that you could increase the quality of your video by twisting it. I had to twist it, and now my video has much better quality. I feel like such a moron. I've had this camera for months and I never noticed that. And I bet I saw it on the manual and never made a connection between the blurriness on my videos and and the ring. So I really apologize. I could have had a lot better quality, but I chose to remain ignorant. Yeah. So anyway, philosophical rambling number 10. Or get into the double digits now. Um, just a quick heads up, I've figured out that it definitely is my base. Hopefully it'll be an easy fix. That's wrong. If you've watched my last bass cover, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, there's something wrong with the connection between my amp and my bass, and I was wondering whether it was my amp or not, or my bass. And I figured out it was my bass because I plugged in my Ibanez and it worked just fine. Albeit the truss rod is still a bit shaky, but that's the bass. So there was no problem with the amp and the bass, just the bass itself. So I've got problems with all three of my bass guitars. I'll hopefully be able to fix the one with my Johnson. So anyway, good news about that. Good news, everyone. So anyway, now my videos will be in higher quality because I'm not being an ass hat, an idiot anymore, basically. So I want to get into this. Philosophical rambling number 10. Experience plus wisdom equals objective judgment, whether that's true or not. Economic freedom is the key, one of many keys to an independent woman. Economic equality, good idea. I'll examine some gender roles and double standards in society, etc. Alright, we're going to continue with talking about Simone de Beauvoir. I don't know how to say her name. I just like being fancy, damn it. Okay. I'm also happy to see a lot of views on, well, a lot of views, relatively speaking, on my last bass cover. I don't know why I got so many views because that was a really shitty cover. I did it acoustically, and I had a lot of mistakes because I was shuffling around. So either you guys like my agony, or you just legitimately enjoyed it. Either way, thanks for watching. And my last philosophical rambling already has 8 views, so that's not too bad either. So I'm happy about that. Hopefully my viewership remains, okay. But either way, here we go. So Devore talks about how experience plus wisdom is the only objective judgment. So this goes into epistemology or epistemological ideas. That is, the strain of philosophy in which we talk about what we can and cannot know and what can be perceived and not perceived. So basically, she's saying experience plus wisdom, which is basically knowledge applied in a very practical manner, means objective judgment, which means objective perception. You're able to see things much more clearly in a much more non-partial way. Now, I don't think there's such a thing as objective judgment. I think our perception is inherently flawed no matter what sort of wisdom you have and no matter what sort of experience you have. I think your experiences are always going to differ, and they're going to be sort of intersubjective, but outer objective, perhaps, is a okay wording for it. But either way, I don't think objective judgment is possible. I think it's something to strive for, possibly, but I don't think it's possible. Like I said, our experiences differ vastly from each other, though they hold objectiveness in one aspect or another. And the wisdom that we have comes from those experiences that are intersubjective and exteriorly, or on the exterior, sorry, on the exterior objective. So I don't think so. Although I think that's experience plus wisdom is a good path towards good judgment, but I don't know about objective judgment necessarily. She talks about economic freedom, Devore does, as the key, or maybe it's one of the many keys, to an independent woman. Now, Devore kind of says it's one of many keys. She doesn't think economic independence will be everything. Like, for example, you could say the women in the Lowell Mills had more independence than the women before them because they were out of the kitchen and stuff like that. Sorry. I'm amused by those kind of jokes, so sorry about that. But anyway, they were out of the kitchen, out of the house, out of, the normal traditional gender roles, which is something I'll discuss in a little bit. And basically they had some power in the workforce and they got more economically independent. But this isn't necessarily so. I mean, the women were highly artificially limited by government barriers and interference, and basically the bosses and capitalists had a lot of access to the means of production via state intervention than they normally would. So it was a very artificial market that they were entering in. Excuse me. And they were taken advantage of, especially the women in the Lowell mills. That's basically where the concept of wage slavery was born, especially in America. Sorry about that. So anyway, so I'd agree. I mean, I agree. Economic freedom is a kind of key for women to be independent. But I also agree with DeVore. That's not the necessarily only one. I think you need to have more equality and authority, more equality in your actions and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not talking like through a centralized government. I'm talking through changing the social structures and coercive structures that are inherent in society right now. That's a good, and do it through voluntary and peaceful means and organization. So yeah, I mean, I would agree. Economic freedom is the key, or at least one of the many keys. I would say one of the many keys, not the key, to an independent woman or a more independent woman. But it depends on the economic freedom. I mean, if you mean economic freedom as in what the girls in the Lowell mills had, no, obviously that's not the case. They were still heavily dependent on the husbands. But if you talk about economic independence nowadays, yeah, that's definitely better. I think it could be even better than that. Maybe some other time for another video though. Is economic equality a good idea? Now, egalitarianism, or the idea that things should be more equal or possess the same qualities as each other, economically speaking, has some noble intentions, but I'm very skeptical, very, very skeptical of things like socioeconomic equality. I think the free market would address these concerns, and they would tend towards to be more economic equality, but I don't think it'd have to be forced, and I think DeVore is looking for government intervention here. I don't think that'd work. Central planning doesn't work from the get-go. Too much of an information problem, the calculation issue, too much of a big bureaucracy and hierarchy, not enough transparency, not enough credibility or accountability. There's just too many problems for it to work for central planning. Through a market, perhaps, but it would have to happen organically from the bottom up and naturally and spontaneously. Not coercively and uniformly imposed, like DeVore probably wanted. Now, I'd like to examine gender roles and double standards and so forth. I think there are lots of dumb double standards. And there's this book that I have called... here we go. And you can finally read what I put on here. The Ethical Slut. This is a fan-fucking-tastic book, and I recommend it to anyone. Even if you're not interested in polyamorous relations, this is a great book about relationship advice. And trust me, I know, because I read it with my girlfriend, and she agrees a lot with it. And we've used it basically to talk about our problems in our relationship. It's just an awesome book, and I can't recommend it enough. Big shout out to Justin Laws for getting me interested in the book to begin with. Anyway, and I might actually link his channel in the description because he's a great guy and he's a big fan of my work. So I'm a big fan of his. So throw a few plugs in. So anyway, that's a really good book. I really recommend it. But I want to talk about it because it does sort of address, the title itself addresses, sort of a double standard society. If men get their dicks in a lot of girls' vaginas, then they're pimps. They're great men. They're conquerors. They're strong and whatever. All the men want to be like them. But if the women, basically, have sex with a lot of men, then they're seen as whores, sluts, prostitutes, strippers, people with no dignity. It's ridiculous. And I think a lot of people will agree once this is fleshed out like this. This is ridiculous, that women shouldn't be seen as any less sexually equal than men should be. And by that I mean, it shouldn't be looked at, women, there shouldn't be any slut shaming is basically what I'm saying. Slut shaming is fucking stupid. Women should be able to sexually express themselves as much as men have. And men do, and it's absurd that they can't. Now, sure, you can say, well, through their attire, they certainly, do that, but that's not the same thing. I mean, it's one thing to dress the part, but to actually act on it is a big step. You need to be able to actually act on it, otherwise it doesn't really count for much. The double standards and sort of what women are expected to be, I mean, still, that's some sort of mentality that men shouldn't be asked to watch the kids or do this or clean the house. That's the woman's job. And I think these gender roles really suck. I think, my girlfriend sometimes makes me breakfast in the morning. And when I started reading the second sex, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I should be making her breakfast just as much as she should. I should show my appreciation to her as it is, but this is just reinforcing bullshit gender roles that I don't approve of. So, long story short, I want to I want to start learning how to make eggs and stuff like that, so I can make food for her. So she doesn't have to she doesn't have to go by these stupid gender roles, which is sort of what's being implicitly reinforced. And again, I reject these implicit structures that reinforce oppression on women and races and blacks and things like that. Now, most libertarians wouldn't think like this, but I'm not your average libertarian. I'm special because I'm a left libertarian. Sorry, I just wanted to act all pompous for a second. Some left libertarians are very pompous about being a left libertarian. I think I have that too. I mean, even when I talk to people and say, "Oh, I'm an anarchist," I get so excited because it's very cool to tell someone you're an anarchist and you're proud of it, because you don't run into that often. But anyway, enough of that. Sorry, that was a tangent. But I hope these two scenarios alone have kind of illustrated some gender roles and some problems in society. And why should they be addressed? We shouldn't be reinforcing that women have some traditional place in the household. If she wants that, if she freely chooses that without pre-existing rights violations happening, then sure, that's fine. I'm not going to say women shouldn't be regulated to the household and the kitchen if that's what they want and that's what they've freely chosen. But you can't honestly tell me back in the 1920s, 1950s and stuff, when all these cultural pressures and economic pressures and artificial pressures in the marketplace through the government intervention were basically saying, stay in the kitchen, make men coffee. Men can beat you if they want. Be subservient. These aren't good things for a free society, and libertarians should be rejecting these implicit structures that inherently oppress women, and they also are used to impress minorities. And I think libertarians should be really looking into that. Sadly, many do not, and many think it as bullshit identity politics or bullshit this or bullshit. It's not bullshit at all, and I think these implicit structures really exist within society and should really be addressed. So anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully will have my base fixed. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to a friend and see if he can drive me. If not, I might get a different friend, or maybe the first friend can help me fix the base. Either way, if I can't get it fixed by Wednesday, I'm still gonna do my video, but it will be done with probably my Squire, because I don't really want to tune back up my Ibanez. I'm fine leaving it at C sharp. So on Wednesday, I'm gonna have a special. I'm going to be showcasing all of my bass guitars and telling you a little bit about them. It's not going to be a long video or anything, but just want to kind of showcase them. And then I'm going to do a cover of Time Consumer by Coheed and Cambria. So that first thing will be a bonus feature, and then Coheed and Cambria. I might be able to pretty freely do videos this week because it's finals, and although that sounds very stressful, I've already done most of my finals. And what finals I haven't done, I'm working on Monday and Tuesday pretty much, and during classes on Wednesday, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, I think that about does it. So hopefully, yeah, my quality seems a lot better now, and you can tell how messed up my hair is and all the blemishes on my face. Isn't higher quality so great? Anyway, I gotta get to bed. I got class in the morning. So thanks for everybody for watching. I'll be up for the next half an hour or so editing this and adding annotations. So I'm not gonna get much sleep as usual. All right, see ya.